Okay, so today we'll be speaking about creating a synced folder that successfully syncs um, media, notes, whatever it is, um, at a fast core in Joplin. So this is about syncing notes in Joplin with media and any sort of attachments there. The first thing you want to do, you want to establish your syncing point, right? Points meaning a devices you want to sync to. So those devices could be your computer and your phone too, right? For the simplicity of it. What I did, um, you establish the synced folder firstly on one device and then share it to the other device. And so basically, you create a pinpoint and the anchor where everything is, and then from there you share, so you throw over the anchor and the rope will reach across with the anchor on it. But when the rope reaches across, you establish the point where the anchor sits, and where the anchor sits is where you need to put your boat, right, in that same place. So an example, the board being the app Joplin, the anchor being the files, and the rope being the connection. So um, in order to do this, we establish the boat, the rope, and the anchor in one location first. Then we synced it to the another point. So we take the telescope out, we look across, we say, hey, this is the spot that we want to go. We say, alright, well, we establish a connection um, with the ship, which is Joplin, right? So we install Joplin, we install Syncton, right? So we take this folder and we share this folder with Syncton, right? And this folder now would be uploaded to Syncton. Now we share this folder from Syncton to the phone, and we say, well, here's the scene. We want to share this folder, right? The phone receive a message, do you want to share this folder with you? Press accept. We create the place that we establish all the plans. We establish that, hey, this is the place that we want the anchor to hit. So when you press yes, you go, you select the directory you wanted to go. I will create a new folder and say, well, Joplin shared folder. That will be the physical folder, not the cloud folder, right? Now the cloud folder will now pour in. So there's two types of folder. There's the folder on Syncton, and then there's the physical hard copy folder, which is soft copy folder on the device itself. So there's two things in Syncton. When you operate in Syncton, the share folder is the folder on the cloud and then the folder on the device. Now you can have the same names on both the device and the cloud, so you won't be confused. However, no, you will be confused, but so you can actually have it differently, so you will know that, well, this is the folder on Syncton, that is the folder that is on the computer, that is a hard copy. Now the name of the folder doesn't need to be the same across any platform. It could be two different things, but more or less we like to keep it simple, so we keep it the same name, right? So you share this folder, hard copy folder, to Syncton, and it by default will take the same name, right? Or you can change the name to whatever the case may be. You take this folder in the cloud and you want to basically send that folder from the cloud onto the device, right? But you need a place for it to go into. So it's like a cloud raining, and you want a collection, you want to collect the water. The water is the data. If you don't collect the water, you won't get no data. So you need a place to collect it. So establish a folder right? So the cloud say, hey, I want to rain down. So, well, um, now we are established where it's going to rain down. So we create the folder and we call it this. Call it Joplin shared folder. And then from there now, the cloud started rain. So we establish a connection and all the files is sent across. Now we need to put the boat where that is. So we send across, we establish a boat on our thing and say, hey, we're gonna go and sail to this point. Right? Then you go to Joplin and you say, hey, go in synchronization settings, set it on. So you go to synchronization settings, you go in Joplin. Then you go in configuration, you go in synchronization, you go into this. No, you change it first. Right? You change file system, and then go here, and then it's already in here. Where you see it on top right there. Right, it's already there. Press use this folder, click save on top here, and then you go back, and then you press synchronize, and it will sync. However, do understand in everything that we say, right? The first thing we would have done was, if this is not a PC, but you would have done this, you would have go to this folder, say you want to share that folder, you go back to Syncton, right? Syncton, go back to Syncton, and you would have basically add this, and you would have select the directory of the folder you want to share. You upload it to Syncton, and it basically sync, it would turn into one of these. So this is cloud folder. And from the cloud folder now you say, well, I want to share this to my computer, right? You turn it on right here, right? Same thing with the computer, the phone, and when you turn it on, it will ask the computer or the phone, hey, I want to share a folder, could you accept this? Then when you go to accept it, right, it would now come into here. So when you go to accept it, it would ask you, hey, where you want this folder to land, and then you put the position. So I create this folder and I call it Joplin shared, and I basically collected. So all the contents of that folder would go into here. Remember, it only shares contents unless it's a folder in a folder, then it will share folders, right? In this case, the files here, all these was the folders and files in the folder, so it would have shared all those things. So it's like a hierarchy then, So there we go. Now we go back to Joplin, and we say, well, here's what is in Joplin. I want you to recognize this folder, and I want you to recognize that this is the folder. Well, I want you to recognize the shared folder. The folder has already been shared, it's working correctly, it's working properly. Now it's for Joplin to read this folder and see that this is the folder that we synced in, and we want Joplin to recognize the files in the folder. So we say, alright, well, here's this here. Normally the original Joplin folder would have been a file name and all the files would sync to this. So it means that it needs to pay attention to the files within the folder in order to read and configure properly. So you go here, you go Syncton, and then you go file system, you click that position, that same file, and you press save on top, and then you go on sync, and it will sync across. But keep in remember is that Joplin only reads and Syncton only responds to changes made in the hard copy version of the file. So in an example, talking about size, talking about files, the amount of files, number of files. So if it is that I say, well, there's this thing, I make a mistake, I create a new file, right? I create a new note and I add it in this notebook. I say this is this, and I delete it, and it ends up in trash, right? All these things is in trash, right? Unless I empty the trash, it will not update anything, right? So example, I'm gonna create a new note on my computer right now. The name of the note is gonna be chicken, right? So when I click here now, synchronize, when I synchronize both sides, it's also work. Right, so I'll give it like about a minute and it will synchronize. So you synchronize chicken, right? Now I want to delete chicken, so I'll say here is delete. Right? I'm giving it a minute. Alright, so we're gonna sync this. Synchronize. Give it a minute again. Right. So on my computer it now gone into trash. So that means it did delete. Right? So it takes a while for it to delete. However, if you truly want to get rid of the whole document, right, you have to delete the file. So you press permanent delete it on the computer and it will permanent delete it. Right? So it works, it updates. You just have to give it a little time. A minute or so. So and that is basically it. Right, so trash, we have it. Chicken, we're gonna disappear now, but so as soon as you click synchronize, it should update. Yeah, after two tries of synchronizing, minimum is 3, most is 3, it will update. So that is basically it. So that is it for this in terms of how to sync files on Joplin.